Alright, so we're gonna do this movie called Mea Culpa, and it was directed by Tyler Perry. So bottom line is I was kind of conflicted whether I want to do this or not. You know, when it comes to Tyler Perry stuff, I feel like he's very repetitive. But they got Kelly Rowland in it, and she don't be playing no fucked up roles. So we're gonna find out. So we got this lady, she goes by the name of Mia Harper. And she's with her husband Cal at the time, you know what I'm saying? They're going through therapy classes and stuff like that. Now we find out she's having a little bit of problems with him dealing with his like childhood friend, this chick by the name of Gina. But she's really in there because of how he puts his mother first above everything, right? Now, here's the thing. Now, Cal's mother's supposed to be dying of cancer or whatever like that, right? So you can see how he wants to make sure everything's good for his mom. No problems with that, right? So after counseling, they're supposed to be going to his mom's birthday celebration or whatever like that. And she comes off real pompous, real arrogant, all this other stuff. And the crazy thing about that is, mom's never liked Mia to begin with. In fact, she kept trying to keep Jenna over, you know what I'm saying? She came to the joint, whatever. She's always wanted Cal to marry Jenna anyway. Now, Mia does have her best friend there, Charlize, whatever, right? The thing is, Charlize is married to this dude by the name of Ray. Ray is Cal's brother and also a district attorney. Now, in the same restaurant is this dude by the name of Zyair. I'm gonna get to him in a minute. So for a birthday present, Cal got his mom this luxurious watch. I'm gonna tell you why this pisses off Mia in a minute. Now, Zyair is supposed to be this expert artist. Now, the thing is, Charlize has a couple of his pictures. But Ray is trying to sell these pictures off. In fact, it pisses him off that they're actually in a house. Boy, I'm explaining this in a minute. So Mia ends up going to work next day. Turns out Zyair is actually in her office. So he's like, what the fuck is he doing in the office? So the thing is, Zyair wants Mia to represent him in this case because apparently he allegedly killed his girlfriend, this chick by the name of Heidi. So the only reason she's even considering this is because she comes to the house and she starts looking up the case, right? Now, Cal doesn't even want Mia representing him because the thing is, his brother Ray is actually supposed to be in the prosecution against him. And if he's able to put him in jail, he could possibly run for mayor. High profile case looks good for him, you know what I'm saying? You know how it goes. So Mia puts the mask down and is like, bottom line, you can't tell me to do nothing. Now, here's why. Mia pulls out a stack of bills that needs to be paid or whatever like that. Bottom line is, she's been trying to pay off everything. Cal lost his job, and he's lost his job for like the last 8 months because he went in his job drunk off weed and alcohol and whatnot. So he apparently used to work for a pharmaceutical company, and he was taking the products out of his own job and doing this shit. I'm like, nigga. Now, on top of that, Cal's family doesn't even know that he lost his job. Why? Because Mia's been sliding Ray money or whatever like that to make it seem like Cal's still working. So she's been doing that and trying to keep up with her own bills and all that. And if she wins this case, they'll be good for another couple months. So she ends up going by herself to Zyair's apartment, right, to try to get a feel on things. So Zyair's pleading this case about he not killing his girlfriend. He's got all these different paintings up all over the place, right? And then she starts pulling out pictures. Now, Zyair says he met Heidi in like Italy somewhere, and they started hitting it off and getting it rocking. Now, he says he came back in the house one day and didn't know what happened or nothing. Now, one of the pictures she shows him is a blood stain leaking in the carpet or whatever like that, and in his loft, to the point where the blood was so bad it was leaking down to the next door neighbor shit. The second picture she shows is a painting of her, but it's like blood or whatever. It turns out there were blood fragments, skull parts, and all that, like all types of DNA on the painting. Then she has this video of Heidi's sending a video to her sister or whatever like that, saying that he's trying to kill me. He was like, who is this he? Now, the thing is, Zyair says he's never met Heidi's parents or her sister. He says he didn't even knew she had a sister. So all this evidence mounted up don't look good for Zyair, right? So when Mia goes back to the office, she ends up calling up this dude named Jimmy. She's known Jimmy for a long time. They're like friends or whatever like that. But Jimmy's also a private investigator. So the thing is, they learned that Heidi's roots is in Mexico or whatever like that. So they're going to try to see if they can find any family members down there. That's where Jimmy's going to go. So as it turns out, when Jimmy goes down there, basically, he can't find shit. He can't even find any records showing that these people exist. So you're like, the fuck is going on? Then Mia goes back to the loft to investigate Zyair more to talk about his ex-girlfriend before meeting Heidi. Turns out she had some type of fetish of sex, talking about like choking and all this other stuff, all this like crazy sex talk, whatever. But he says he didn't do any of that with Heidi. You know what I'm saying? He was like, she's different. So once again, this shit don't look good against Zyair, right? So the thing is, Mia wants Zyair to keep a low profile, keep him in the house. Unless he's dying or in the hospital, you don't want him coming out, you know what I'm saying, exposing himself, whatever. People take a picture, shit like that. So then Jimmy does some more digging. The thing is, he digs up some chick by the name of Renee Carter. Now, Renee pretty much says she knows everything about Zyair or whatever like that. But here's the thing. She don't want to talk to anybody unless it's Mia. Now, Renee actually runs an art gallery. It turns out Zyair, when he first got started, nobody wanted to take him on except for Renee. She was selling the paintings, making money. Then we found out some more information. Turns out if Heidi had died, somebody would have been collecting a $3 million policy on him. I'm like, shit. Really doesn't look good for Zyair, right? So Cal's talking to his wife, Mia, you know what I'm saying? He's trying to get things back on the right track, even though, you know what I'm saying, he's been out of a job, you know what I'm saying, had a line to the parents, all type of shit. He's trying to be a better man. Apparently, he's been going to rehab. He's going to these marriage counseling classes and stuff like that. Meg ends up going back to work. Turns out Zyair shows up at the job. He says he feels stuffy there. He doesn't want to be there. He wants to talk at the loft or whatever like that. Now, here's my thing. If she didn't want him exposing himself, coming out or whatever like that, why the fuck would she have him coming out in broad daylight, coming to a daggone attorney's office? You see what I'm saying? Nevertheless, she ends up going back to his loft. Somehow they switch the conversation up and he ends up getting her to paint. Tells her to think of a color when she closes her eyes. She says blue and then she starts painting waves. It's like all type of sensual shit. Stuff she should not be doing with her client, especially if he's marked for murder. Compromising cases and whatnot, you know what I'm saying? So afterwards, she dips out. She comes back home. To her surprise, it's not just Cal there, it's Ray and her mom there. She fixed them all a nice meal at the house, but Mia's thinking to herself, you ain't never did this before. This is the first time doing any of this. But the sons play it off like, yo, she's trying to do something nice, you know what I'm saying? Like, you gotta understand, she got cancer, you know what I'm saying? Trying to do everything happy. But the thing, Mia is like, yeah, she don't never do nothing nice for me. Like, what's the deal? Nevertheless, she just lets it slide. So the thing is, neither one of them want them representing Zyair. I mean, Cal really don't have no say in the matter, but when it comes to Ray, once again, he's trying to put this dude away and then have an opportunity to become mayor, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah. Just getting out there, Ray and Charlize got like 2 kids together. And we already established the mom just doesn't like Mia. She's very uptight with a lot of things and everything, but I guess you can, I don't know, maybe consider it because of the fact she's about to die. And apparently she had came from chemo just to make sure she was cooking for the family. So afterwards, she meets up with Zyair again, trying to get some more information about this case. And he keeps distracting her, telling her like, yo, I know you think I'm attractive. And he's like, bottom line, if you can't tell me the truth, then I can't have you as a lawyer. But she's trying to convince him like, dude, you got a month left. Ain't nobody going to take this case other than me. So he talks about going out. And she's like, yeah, you can't go out. You know what I'm saying? He's like, I'm not going out. He's just going somewhere to dance. So basically, he goes down the stairs in the loft or whatever like that. And he goes down to this like little hallway or whatever like that. Without him knowing, Mia starts following him. It turns out to be this like little red room area where a bunch of like orgies and all types of crazy shit is happening. You're like, what the fuck? So she's like, okay, this is what he into. So next thing you know, she ends up going back home. She sees Cal playing video games, right? He's playing a Call of Duty. But who's he online playing with? Freaking Jenna. I'm like, so you know Mia feeling some type of way as she goes in her room and starts studying stuff. So at this point, Mia's not even sure she wants to stay on the case. So she goes to see Zyair again. And she lets him know she got a team set up for, you know what I'm saying, to make sure that they can make sure the case goes smooth, whatever like that. But he keeps saying that he needs her. They end up getting close. He almost kisses her or whatever like that. And then she's like, we got to stop. All of a sudden, this random chick comes out of nowhere named Carrie. It's like walking around naked, and all of a sudden, Mia's about to leave, whatever. But she can't really leave until he presses the button so he's able to flick the elevator off. While this is happening, Carrie's giving Zyair a head or whatever. Like, she's sitting there staring, watching at this shit, right? So then he finally clicks the button so she can get to the car, right? And then she makes a call. She ends up calling Jimmy. Jimmy ends up sending her this video. Turns out it was a video of Cal and Jenna coming out of the Winston Hotel in like room 714. We're like, what the fuck? So she's definitely feeling some type of way. She pissed off. She actually comes back into the loft to come see Zyair again. Carrie ends up leaving. Mia comes up to him and just starts kissing him and shit. And then she's like, I don't know if I can do this. Then he puts a jacket on her. They go outside the loft, whatever like that, ride on his bike, and they start riding around to this, I guess riding to some whatever area that he's got. He's got some other location set up. They end up kissing, doing the do, giving the business, putting paint all over each other, all type of shit. So clearly she's definitely compromised this case, right? That they finish doing what they do, she looks up at the ceiling. They see all these pictures up there, and it's a picture of her on the middle of the ceiling. After she leaves, she's coming back to work or whatever like that. Charlize and Cal are at her job. They're trying to figure out where she's been at the whole time, right? Turns out that picture at the hotel was not just Cal and Jenna. It was everybody there. They were making sure that their mom was doing all right. Now she feeling guilty as hell, thinking Cal was up to no good, but we already know what she did. So afterwards, she talks to Jimmy or whatever like that, and Jimmy's back in town now, so she pretty much confesses everything that she did. And Jimmy's not going to judge her, you know what I'm saying? His best friend. Jimmy actually feels like it's his fault for sending that in the first place. And I think she's feeling so guilty about everything, and at this point, she's actually supposed to meet up with Renee Carter, because finally she wants to talk to her. So she finally ends up meeting with Renee. They end up talking about the situation, but it turns out that Renee was actually caught up in the shit too. Painting canvases blue and red and all that. So you're thinking to yourself, he's probably done this shit to a lot of people, right? So she goes back to Zyair's loft while he's painting this masterpiece, whatever like that. She goes up into the painting. While she's looking at her painting, she starts pulling off the her painting or whatever like that. It turns out there's another girl under that. She pulls it off as it was Renee. It pulls off as another girl under that. Bottom line is, it's like a couple different girls under these paintings. The last painting was a painting of Heidi, but on the front of it, it said, "Die, bitch, you ruined my life." I'm like, whoa, what the fuck? All this mountain of evidence is not going to help out Zyair in this case. And considering what they did at this point, she's like, I can't even represent you, yo. He's trying to apologize, all this stuff, and she's like, yo, get me the fuck out of here. So when the case comes up, Zyair ends up taking a plea deal or whatever like that. Now he's behind bars. And when Mea gets back home, shit hits the fan. Ray and his mom looking all crazy like they noticed something. Charlize just sitting there on the couch chilling. Kyle comes up there. He's all distraught. He don't know what the fuck going on. Then Ray told him, you should just be honest. And Kyle's saying the same thing. He's like, are you serious? So she finally lets his family know this nigga been out of work for like 8 months. And then Kyle finds out that Mea smashed Zyair. Those are all types of turmoil and shit. She ends up getting out the house. So basically, she takes a plane trip to Mexico to try to clear her head and everything like that. So as she's going through the hotel, we see somebody working there. It turns out it's Heidi. Heidi's not dead. She's still alive. What the fuck? So she starts chasing at her, trying to take pictures or whatever like that. But she's knocking the phone out of her hand, spraying her and all this other stuff and gets away. So Mea ends up calling Jimmy, telling him about the situation. Then she ends up calling Ray, telling him about what it is. It's like, yo, Heidi's still alive. So Ray tells her he's going to get some people down there to come pick her up or whatever like that. You know what I'm saying? To kind of hurry up and do it because she's probably going to be on the run. But considering what this bust meant to his career with Zyair putting him in jail and him trying to run for mayor, I'm pretty sure you're thinking to yourself, like, yeah, he's not sending nobody down there. And then it gets real crazy when she comes back to New York. Man, they end up going to Mom's house, you know what I'm saying? Ray's there, Charlize is there, and they're waiting for Cal to show up, right? Ray keeps assuring Mea that somebody's going down there to get Heidi, right? So she ends up taking a phone call in the kitchen, right? It's Jimmy again. It turns out Jimmy just sent him some incriminating evidence or whatever like that. We don't see what it is yet. And while she's looking at this evidence, she ends up seeing this door. It's like a reddish door or whatever like that in the kitchen, right? She goes through the door and sees like these photo joints of like Charlize and paintings. We're like, oh shit. So we found out Ray was the sabotager for this whole shit to begin with. He knew that Heidi wasn't dead. Turns out he was always berating Charlize because Charlize at one point fucked Zyair too. And to top it all off, Ray's mom didn't really have cancer. She was faking that shit the whole time. Like, what? She did it just to get sympathy for the people so Ray would have an easier time trying to become mayor. And he was really trying to put this innocent man behind bars because he ended up fucking his wife. I'm like, yo. And mom was saying, Mea ain't no good because you fell for the same shit. I'm like, what the fuck? Now, Mea couldn't make a call because right before he came out the kitchen, the mom was like, yo, can you help me? You know what I'm saying? I'm stumbling or whatever like that. She ended up stumbling, knocking the phone out of her hand, and then accidentally dropping down to her knee and then ended up smashing her phone. Accidentally, right? But like, come on, why is mom asking for help from her for anything? She ain't never asked her for help a day in her life. We're like, yeah. So like I said, she never really had cancer. Ray was behind the whole thing. Then it gets to a point where we want Charlize to stab Mea. But she turns around and tries to hit Ray, and then all types of calamity happens. Mea somehow ends up escaping. Charlize ends up getting stabbed in the stomach by the mom. I'm like, what the fuck? She gets in the truck. Ray's chasing after her, knocks him off of the truck. Mom gets on the truck. Mea ends up running into a fucking tree, knocking her off the damn truck. Truck doesn't start. She's running down the street. All of a sudden, Cal comes up. He's like, oh my God, yo, you safe? Now, Cal's calling the police or whatever driving, but you got to think to yourself, when they're driving, Cal is driving back to the house. And then he starts explaining himself. Turns out, Cal knew about this shit from the get-go. So as they're driving back to the house, this Mack truck is coming, right? So then Mea does some quick thinking, unfastens Cal's seatbelt, and then runs the truck straight into him, and he is flying out of the truck, done deal, daddy shit. I'm like, yo. So after all this goes down the next morning, this evidence is being spread all over the news. Ray ends up getting locked up on Trump charges or whatever like that, and Zyair is finally free of all prosecution. He gets free, dips off, texts Mea, see how she's doing, whatever like that, and then Mea's just looking at it, throws the phone in the trash, and then walks off, and that's the end of the movie. I was like, yo. I ain't gonna lie, Tyler Perry, you did your thing on this one. But don't get it twisted, this is in large part due to Kelly Rowland, for real. Mea Culpa on Netflix. Check it out.